Hello, this is PWAFILMS here to bring you some news about upcoming projects, both on YouTube and on Wattpad. As of late, I have finally finished my last semester in college and will be graduating in a few weeks. This past semester has taken up much of my time, but now I can finally go back to my schedule and work on some projects. Let's start off by talking about film projects. Since the release of Resurgence, I've been going on and off about what the next project should be. Now, in the last announcement, I mentioned that there's been a project in the works for a while now, but I can't say anything about it yet. Basically, it's a project that I'm not in charge of. But like last time, I can say that it's a very special project, unlike anything we've done before, and I'll leave it up to the maker to give me a word on when I can say something. Then there's Ideal Host Incubator. There hasn't been much going on with that, but I have been in the talks with somebody who could possibly take over. Someone who actually looks a lot like the lead actor we have now. Now, if they sign on, then there will have to be a little time to redevelop the story in order to fit the actor's current resources and whereabouts. But aside from this, there's not much else going on with the project. But as for projects that are moving forward, there are actually 3 projects in the works. The first is a spin-off of Ideal Host, exploring Professor PWAFILMS' origin. But for those hoping for any MPreg, FPreg, and alien pregnancy in the film, I'm sorry, that project won't feature any, as I'd like to explore the realm of Ideal Host beyond pregnancy and focus more on the specimen in its adult stage. But that may be a while from now. But as for the origin film, that will be a 20-minute story that will explore who Professor Sylvan was as a younger man and how he became radicalized as we see him in the Garden of Eden, the Extended Cut, and Genesis. Now, Dr. Croc will be returning to voice Professor Sylvan as a younger character and is very much excited to explore this new side of him. However, for those hungry for more pregnancy and alien pregnancy, I have 2 series in the works. The first series is in the development stage and is looking to have 6 to 8 episodes. However, the first season is well received. We can see up to 12 episodes for each season beyond that. The series is very interesting and quite unique from anything done before, but I don't want to say anything yet. But what I will say is it actually caters to a lot of demands I've been hearing in the comments. And so it can go either way with reception, but it will cover new ground and it'll still have much of what we love in the previous stories. The last thing I will say is, we haven't decided on a title yet, but the working title for now is Symbiosis. The second series, also in the development stage, will be 16 episodes featuring 2 2-minute shorts, so we're looking at 5 minutes per episode. Each short is a 1-on-9 featuring different pregnancies from across the galaxy. These pregnancies can range from male pregnancy, female pregnancy, and alien pregnancy. I think while each episode is short, it will make people very happy. However, if you or someone you know would like to volunteer for the series, I will happily take anyone, especially females who would like to volunteer, as the demand for FPreg is very, very high. Whoever volunteers will not only have acting credit, but also story credit. Now, moving on to stories for Wattpad. I have completed a story, and I aimed to drop it a while back, but I held off. The reason is, if I drop it, it may be a potential spoiler for Genesis. If you'd like me to drop the story early, please leave a comment. If the comments are high enough, then expect to see the story up on Wattpad soon. If not, then after Book 2 and Book 3 of Ideal Host Genesis, I will release the story. I won't reveal any details, but it's pretty awesome and will spark 2 sequels, both of which have been outlined but not written. This leads into the next story, which is Book 2 of Genesis. Now, this time around, I'm going to complete all the chapters before I drop them in order to avoid the issue I had last time, which was about halfway through the series, there was a massive delay which caused many of the chapters to be released a few weeks later. Now, because I feel bad for that happening and a lot of people got upset, I'm going to write all the chapters before I release the first chapter. So I'm going to need a little bit of time to do that. Thankfully, I have a roadmap of what's going to happen in Book 2 and in Book 3. So I'll be starting that as soon as I can. So there's actually been another story in the works for a while now. It's a 16-chapter anthology book called Ideal Host Classified, and it features many test subjects set during Book 1 of Genesis. Now, the intention with this one was people would volunteer to write their own stories for some of the chapters. This was to spark different perspectives from you guys and how you perceive Ideal Host. I'd say it's been mostly successful, but there are many chapters left, some of which have been abandoned. So if you want to take a crack at writing 1 or 2 of these chapters, leave a comment or add me on my Discord. I'll leave my Discord username in the description below. Since the release of the extended cut, I have been planning out a larger universe that relates to the specimen or has events that revolve around the specimen. Now, I created a roadmap that spanned from the very beginning to the very end of the story, but I noticed about a month ago that the map was a little too disorganized and had a lot going on. So where most of my efforts have gone since the last chapter of Genesis has dropped has been to reorganize and make the roadmap more detailed and more focused. There are so many stories that I could tell that it would take at least a decade to get anywhere deep into the roadmap. There are stories that venture into unknown territory, explore places we haven't seen, people we've yet to meet, and events that literally change everything. The roadmap isn't done yet, but I have a lot of it complete. Now, despite the fact that I have written everything into this roadmap, there will still be projects that will spark out of the blue, just like Symbiosis, and just like this other series that's in the works. But the overall goal is to release these stories in a way that push the world into this massive story arc. Essentially what I'm saying is we haven't even begun to dive beneath the surface yet. Right now, these stories are so isolated from each other, but in time, everything will become interconnected and paint a larger picture. I really hope you all enjoy what I have planned because this is basically a lifelong adventure. And again, if you want to be part of this process, talk to me and we can make plans to collaborate. As long as you stay true to the agreement, all is welcome. With that being said, thank you for bearing through this very long announcement video. For the most part, it's me writing these stories and making these films. I do get lots of support and aid from my best friends and top collaborators, Sweet CR95 and Dr. Croc. I also have my small team who are there for me and help me come up with cool ideas, but I'm hoping we can build a larger team so that we can pump out more content on a regular basis. Thank you all again, and have a good weekend.